So it's like the first week of August. And then, let's go back to my apartment.
Break your nose
Expensive, but still out of town. But if you bring up you actually have to bring a yes. Did he say yeah? Did he say yes? I said, excuse me, bring your puppy to process art. We want it. Both things can happen. Puppies and process. Socialize your dog. We want so. I forgot to say that it was Martin when I was messaging earlier, and I was like, I don't know if you know who this is, but it's fun. You know? One never really knows. Yeah. I'm trying to get.
Hello. Good morning. Can we hear me now? Check, check, check. Hello. Good evening. Can anybody hear me? All right. Hi, everybody. Hi. Welcome into Social Medium. How many of you, it is your first time in the Makerspace tonight? Okay. The new space, at least. Okay, yes, we are in a new space. Hi, I'm Sam. I'm the new events coordinator here. I'm going to be your MC tonight. We have some amazing people come in. I'm assuming you're here for show and tell. All right, cool, awesome. Hi to all our friends and family online. We love you. Thank you for watching. Tonight we're going to be bringing in a host of amazing little speakers and presentators and wow, presentators, that's a word. Words are hard. All right. So we hope you enjoy the people that we have here to speak. Please stick around, ask questions, and give them lots of love. They're here doing this for us because they love what they do and they want to share that with us. So first up, oh, that's me. Hi.
You were first up.
First up, we're going to bring up Daryl and Erica. They're here from Boggled Escape Rooms, and they're going to tell you a little bit about what they do and their escape rooms that they run. All right, so give it up for Daryl and Erica.
Are we standing up or sitting
Yeah,
up?
stand. You're going to want to stand in the light,
Oh, they want to see us. Okay.
and you're going to want to talk into this so that the online can hear you.
Oh, that's for online. All right.
You probably don't need a mic, right? 'Cause,
I
you
don't know.
I'm
Do I need a
joking.
mic?
You're going to need it for online.
Yeah, online.
You'll have to amplify in here because that will not amplify your voice to the room, but it does make sure that our online viewers can hear.
Got it.
Oh, okay. That makes total sense now. You wanna hold it? There you go.
Thank you. All right. Hi, I'm Daryl.
I'm
This is
Erica.
We own Boggled Escape Rooms in Calabasas, not too far away. And we basically started the escape room because we originated from the film industry. I've been in the film industry since '77, starting to work on special effects miniatures for a variety of movies, 3 Star Trek movies, Iron Man, Pirates of the Caribbean, all of that. Eventually, I started writing scripts, and in the industry, it was very, very challenging to get a script made. So Erica and I finally, at one point, said, okay, the only way to actually get a movie made is to make it ourselves. So we raised the money and, small budget films, but we finally wrote, produced, and directed 3 independent films that are selling online to this day. But ultimately, we realized that's not a good way to make money in the film industry anymore. because low budget films, just don't get seen that much. They don't bring in a lot of money, and it's hard to pay your investors back. So we decided to look for something that would be a more regular and more lucrative business.
And he loves haunted houses, and he thought, let's do a haunted house. And so it said, okay, well, let's talk to some people who maybe know how to build that. We had some people come over, and they were saying, oh, yeah, really good. Here's your idea. Oh, you did this yourself, because he had it all worked out. They're not used to that. So that was cool. And we were saying, well, wait, we have to shut this thing down after Halloween? We've spent all that time and energy and money. And the guy said, hey, well, why don't you just make an escape room? And we went,
What's that?
and here we are.
So we started doing the research, and we went to several escape rooms and realized that this was a perfect segue from the film industry, because we're used to building sets, props, telling stories. And in a sense, that's what escape rooms are all about. It's like making a movie, but you are the live actors in the film over and over and over again. So we decided to sit down, plan it all out, use our own money to put it together. And we came up with different ideas, researched what would be most popular to start with that people seem to enjoy. And so we came up basically with initially a room based on an Egyptian theme called the Key of Destiny. And that is something where you have a story that an Egyptian queen in ancient times was given, the Key of Destiny, was given a golden key by the god Set to help her become rich and powerful, but she kind of decided that she was going to take that into the afterlife, so she had herself buried with the key and wrapped a curse around it. So the gods cannot attain the key. You mortals have to go in, solve all the puzzles, break through the tomb, open the coffin, grab the key, and give it back to the gods. That's the Key of Destiny experience. It lasts an hour, and we have found that escape rooms are fantastic for really team building, communication, interactions. A lot of corporations come to do escape rooms, to do team building events, and we've even heard that some people have been promoted or shifted to different departments because of what they do in an escape room, because they really demonstrate problem solving, whether they're a leader, whether they're a follower, and all sorts of interesting psychologies come out when you have a group of people put into a kind of light pressure situation trying to solve puzzles.
And that's really true, because of my memory, there was one small team building came, and the whole time there was this older gentleman of all the people who were in that room, and he just kind of stood back and watched. And there are some people who are just observers, and he was watching, and the people were talking and doing everything to make things happen, and he would just go, that goes to that. That's going to be Bub. And he just knew from just standing back, and that was his skill, was the observer, and then putting everything together, the engineer, and really looking at it. So it's a fascinating psychological adventure when you're looking at people and how they manage in an escape room.
Yeah. We've even seen some interesting psychology in younger people. The tweens that are growing up, but they're not quite adults yet, will do fascinating things like look at a puzzle and go, Dad, come over here and help me figure it out. And then when they get enough understanding, they go away. I want to do this myself.
Totally true. So, it's adorable and amazing, and it's taught us a lot about even playing escape rooms ourselves. figure out how to get around it. We had some pedestals in there. We had these little pins that we stuck in there, and somebody figured out how to take a magnet from another room and put it up against it and get the pin to come out. That wasn't supposed to be hooked up together, but this young person was just brilliant. Another one came in with, here's their idea. They put their mouth up to the pin and they blew. And the pin went out the back, and they didn't use the tool that we had designed specifically for that. So people are brilliant, and they will teach you what foibles you have created there.
Yeah, we're constantly tweaking, constantly changing, constantly improving. One of the most continuous things we do is maintenance when you have an escape room. People are constantly breaking things, wearing things down. So we have started learning that any new thing we do has to be, as best as possible, absolutely bulletproof. So it's tough to do because people really do like to pull on things, tug on things, touch things.
They don't mean to. They're excited. They're just excited. So.
But you got to make it a good experience for them, but make sure that it can actually survive over and over and over again. So the second room we did is called Paradox, and that's where you come into a laboratory that is meddling with time travel technology, but their AI system called Sovereign has gone rogue, and it has used the AI technology, the time travel technology, to change history so it can rule the world. So you have to go in as a repair team and figure out what it changed, change it back, correct the timeline, and shut Sovereign down. And this is the most challenging game that we have at this particular moment. We don't even allow anyone under 15 in the room. It is really something that you need a large team of people, like at least 4 to 5 people to go through to be able to get out in an hour. Most people do not make it out if it's less than that.
And that's another fascinating thing about building an atmosphere, even aside from the puzzles, because what he did, he kind of builds all the rooms and designs them. But what he did was he put these things on the wall that are just everywhere. And so when people walk in, they're not sure what they're supposed to do at first, more so than any other room. So it takes them a while to orient themselves. So that in itself becomes a challenge and a difficulty aside from the puzzles. So that's an interesting factor that I don't know. Did you plan that? Or it just happened because you liked the atmosphere? Were you thinking, I'm going to overwhelm those people?
No, I didn't think so, because we're explaining the things on the wall as holographic projectors. So to me, it was just simply part of the design of the room. But of course, that's the other thing you start learning is when somebody does not have a clue what it is they're in for, there's all sorts of input that comes to them that can be confusing, and you have to provide them some way of understanding how to get through the game. So what we did is on the back of the door and on a couple of clipboards, we actually have puzzle maps. So they know you start with this puzzle, it leads to this puzzle, and it leads to this puzzle, and leads to this puzzle. And that way, at least they can direct themselves, oh, we're supposed to do this first, we're supposed to look at this next, this connects to that, this will get us in the second room, so on and so forth.
And then we get a lot of people coming in to say, hey, can I bring my 7-year-old to this room? And we're like, no, you can't bring your, come on. But then we started thinking, well, we've done enough, and the people behind us in the office finally moved out, and we had said to the landlords, hey, if they ever move out, just let us know, we might take it. And we did. We took it. We broke through there. There was a room there that was going to be just a workshop, and I said, well, it's just a one-room thing. Why don't we use it for the kids? Because we have them, and there's some kids who want to do
Monkey Shine.
yeah. Who want to do escape rooms and come in with their parents, and it's adorable, and they run around and they're really excited. And so I designed that one, and it was interesting trying to create a developmental span from ages 6 to age 10. When you think about the mentality of it, the 6-year-olds kind of like, and we get sometimes people will bring a 5-year-old, 4-year-old. If it's just a couple of kids, it's not a big deal. We don't want a bunch of 4-year-olds running around because they just have no clue. But and they just have so much fun doing physical things, and there's a snake they have to drag across the room, and they get a lot of help from their parents, and it's
Sometimes too much.
sometimes too much, but it's still adorable to watch because the parents, they get excited too. They want to play, and sometimes they can't figure it out either, but the kid figures it out. So that's always an interesting.
Yeah, that's another thing we've learned is the perspective that is different between adults and children. Sometimes when you go into one of the rooms and there are younger people there, they'll be going, "Mom, Dad, it should work like this," and they're going, "No, no, 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 I'm going to figure this out." And the kid's been right like for the last half hour, you know.
So you never know. Again, we're being taught every day in a wonderful way, all of our customers, and it helps us to make better games and make better choices, all that kind of stuff.
So the next game that we are now working on, which will be open for Halloween, is The Ghost of Blackstone Manor. And this one is where you actually have to use magic spells to remove a curse that has trapped a spirit in an old Victorian house. So while this is not scary, it is spooky and moody, and that's something that I really enjoy. And one of our game masters really enjoys. He's totally into it. And so we can't wait for this one to open for Halloween. And then what we recently did with the Key of Destiny, which was originally 3 chambers that you had to go through, is we finally realized that a lot of people starting out in Chamber 1 were getting into Chamber 2, but they weren't really always getting into Chamber 3 if they didn't have a lot of people or couldn't figure out what to do. So we recently decided what we're going to do is we're going to start them in Chamber 2 as Chamber 1 and have them go into the final chamber, and that way they have more of a chance of getting through the game, and that way it gives up room 1 for us to create a new 5th adventure in the same space, a 1-room adventure, which many escape rooms do. So we're still figuring out what we're going to do in that, and we're having fun coming up with ideas. But I think that for me, The Ghost of Blackstone Manor is probably going to be one of my favorites, and I can't wait to get that done and start spooking people out. Does anybody have any questions about this so far or anything? Yeah.
So, when you say that you have released a broom, and then people break things, and you need to go through and you need to do maintenance and you need to fix things,
Yes.
between when the item is broken and when you are fixing it, when does the new piece, when do you consider the new piece ready to go?
Yeah, good question. Well, the first thing you do when you open an escape room is you try as best as you possibly can to already have duplicates in your storage room of anything that could possibly break.
We can't have duplicates of the entire puzzle, but usually it's a door that gets broken or a hinge or something like that.
Right. But sometimes a whole puzzle isn't working, something wears out, and so we do try to have some duplicates. However, one of the things we realized when we opened the escape room is that we need to find a location that is close to our house, because sometimes we're at home, the game masters are there operating the games, and they call us up and say, "Hey, something just broke, and we have another game coming up." That means I get in my car, I rush up, and I actually try to fix it before the next game, and that's something that happens quite often.
Now, what's been wonderful is that these 2 people that we have who already had escape room experience that we were very fortunate to find, they're starting to gain that ability. He's taught them, so they're starting to be able to fix it themselves on the spot, which is terrific. So, yay.
Which saves me a lot of gas. So, oh, yes.
When you do go to other escape rooms, when you go to other escape rooms, is there any kind of a inspiration or certain things you're looking for besides solving the room?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely interesting to see what people come up with, idea, how they manufacture ideas, how they get, process the idea. And it inspires us to think, the reason that in a sense we're doing the new single room is the last thing we did was a single room at the Red Door escape room in Lipspango Mall. And we said, okay, you can have a single room and have a really cool adventure in it. We don't have to have 2 rooms or 3 rooms to have a fun adventure. So we realized that with the size of the chamber we had for room 1 in Key of Destiny, it's big enough to have a serious adventure in that single room.
Let me ask you, were you asking?
How we decide which escape rooms we want to go to, or were you asking what he was answering?
Oh, I think it's more like when you're like behind, like, let's say for the next one, how you decided to, how you want to design your next escape room? Like, what kind of things are you looking for? Like, how do you figure out the mechanisms? How do you figure out the story?
Well, that's a puzzle into itself, is to actually figure out how all the puzzles work, because they have to flow, they have to connect, they have to be something that's not too easy or too hard. And so we've learned over time kind of how, by watching people and what they think of and what they do to solve these things, we have started to figure out a little bit more quickly what would be a good mechanism or a good puzzle. Now, one of our particular signatures of our escape room, which is not common at this point, because a lot of escape rooms use a lot of electronics, we don't. It's all mechanical, it's all magnetic. You have to make it work. In a sense, that's considered old school, it's considered first generation, but we're trying to really scale that up so that even though it's just mechanical, it is something that's interesting and complex enough, and it gives them something to really figure out, and hands-on, they have to make it happen. They can't just touch something and something clicks open over there. They actually have to use their hands, they have to use their bodies to get it to work.
But in terms of making puzzles and coming up with designs, there's been many times where we've come up with something, well, I should say him, come up with something, and it didn't work. He
Yeah.
finished making the entire puzzle, we put it in the room, we tested it out, and then it just wasn't working. Just
Yeah.
people kept doing one thing or another. And, you know, here's the thing, is you think as a designer and a creator, you're going to go in, well, this is what you do. But when people come to it and go, what should I do here? Oh, I'm going to do that instead of this. And then you're thinking, no, don't do that. I didn't design it to do that. But they do it. So that teaches you right there, oops, that's just not going to work because this is what these people want to do with it. And it's not getting them to where they want to go. And unfortunately, sometimes you just can't make that connection in that moment.
Any other questions? Yes, back there.
You mentioned when you watch others go into the escape room, you notice like types of roles they play, like how their mind works. I'm curious for the two of you, like who are you in the escape room?
We are often just as confused as anybody.
No, I mean, really, I remember when we went to this very first escape room, it was so simple. I mean, compared to what we know now, it was simple. It was a room and then a tiny, like, closet that they turned into something.
It was like an office.
It was like a chest and a bookshelf and with a few books in it and a map on the wall. And we were just like, what do we do here? You know, we just had now we would laugh at it and go, oh yeah, there's the map, you go there, blah, 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 because we've learned more. But yes, there's some that are easier. I don't personally like scary rooms. It's not my preference. So if he wants to go do that, he can do it by himself. But so I just feel like it doesn't allow me to really focus on the puzzle. But, you know, I think the more you do them, you start to understand about relationship, because oftentimes there's always going to be something and you look at it and you go, oh, that goes over there. You start to make the connections where in the beginning you're just like, what? Yeah, so you just are clueless.
Yeah, when you start doing a lot of escape rooms, you start learning that there are patterns of how you go through the room that will actually help you. Like the first thing you do is look for anything that's not locked, find it in drawers, pull it all out, put everything on a table, see what you've got as an inventory. And then you start noticing, is a symbol on this anywhere else in the room? Because that'll tell you this is connected to that. So there are ways to get through a room where you can do it faster. Now, the thing that's interesting, like I said, since we're not doing a lot of electronics, even though we will get people sometimes that have literally done hundreds of escape rooms, they get thrown by the fact that they're not electronic, that they're mechanical, because they haven't seen that in a long time. So it really just depends on what you get used to that will determine how easily or hard the room can be for you as well.
Sometimes really, really experienced people, they're expecting things to be super complicated, but we like to make things in the room a variety, some easier things, some more difficult things. And so when they get to the easy thing, they're like, okay, where's this thing? You know, it's here, and it was on the box that they were holding. So it was that simple. So that it's interesting psychological.
They overthink. They tend to overthink.
And they recognize it when they come out of the room.
There was another question? Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Whoever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just had two parts. First part, have you Escapology that recently opened on City Walk? It's a new escape room.
No,
Okay.
not yet.
And then, so is there anything that you look for since you don't do a lot of electronics? Do you find that a lot of people go to your escape room enjoying that it's more mechanical based?
Yes, some do. Yeah, some really appreciate that because they're so tired of electronics, and also they find that a lot of times because it's so complex, yeah, it breaks down a lot, and therefore the game's shut down. And so they like that they can go through the whole game without worrying about the wiring frying or a computer component. Yeah, and it yeah. So yeah.
In one of your things, a wire that's meant to be pulled out to make people think they broke the game.
There you go.
Yeah. Although one of the things that we now understand that we need to avoid, which used to happen in escape rooms a lot, is red herrings. We don't allow that anymore. No, because it's a waste of time and people get pissed off. Yeah. What was that? Was that the second? Oh, okay.
And before they wrap up, I'll just say Martin and I have done their escape room. It was a lot of fun. And I think when we walked away from it, we said that it reminded us a lot of like Survivor, right? Like because
Yeah.
it's like these big mechanical puzzles, and you're like moving things around and shifting them. It really feels like you're like running around moving these big things. And so it's definitely a unique escape room. So yes, we did get it.
Yeah.
So we did the mummy one so far, and then we're waiting
Yeah.
we're gonna do the AI one as a staff. So
Yeah. And Ben and his team actually helped construct some of the new one that we're doing, the Ghost of Blackstone Manor. Power tools, yes. So thank you for that. That was a lot of help because it was just overwhelming trying to do everything ourselves. So it'll be open hopefully for October for the Halloween season. We hope.
So thank you very
Thank you guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Daryl and Erica. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm really interested in going. I've not been to an escape room yet, even though it definitely sounds like up my alley. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming. You guys were amazing. Absolutely. So next we're gonna actually bring up one of our members. We have a few members here presenting tonight. Our member coming up next to present has a pretty interesting skill, interesting talent, and I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do. So can we go ahead and welcome Han?
All right, so I'm presenting some Balisong flipping. So I know a lot of people kind of just know this as like butterfly knives. So originally it was called Balisong. Originated in the Philippines around like 800 AD.
sorry, Han, can you take one step to your left, please? Sorry.
To the left.
Just stand right in front of Loki.
Oh, here?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So it was. Okay. So yeah, originated in the Batangas region in the Philippines, and originally they were made of like bone and wood. But yeah, originally they were made for like kind of just utility purposes, like for fishermen to like cut lines and for like farmers to like actually use. And then eventually it became used in like martial arts because it's kind of hard to like track where the blade's going if you're actually just like fighting someone. Yeah, it got incorporated to martial arts like Kali and Eskrima. Sorry, I don't know what I wrote there. Eskrima, yeah. And then the Western adaptation or adoption came in like World War II when the soldiers went over to like the Philippines areas, and then finally like brought it over to the West. So yeah, it was popularized in the 50s and 60s. And then the association kind of became with like kind of like gang activities. So then kind of all got banned for a while in like the 80s. And yeah, so a lot of like violence in like the media kind of led to that getting banned in like a lot of places. But then in like the 80s, there was this company, Pacific Coast Cutlery, that kind of brought it all back. Now they're called Benchmade. So yeah, there's like a big kind of scene between the 80s and 2010 where kind of not really much happened. Just a bunch of big companies got into it, and then finally in like 2010, when like kind of video game culture kind of came over, TF2 and CS:GO really popularized it, and then into like 2015, I feel like the flipping scene kind of influenced like Valorant. So now, when I started, I was like 15 in like 2018. So I've basically been doing this for like 7 years at this point. So yeah, once I kind of got into the scene, there was like a new gen, I guess, where like before you can kind of tell there was like a divide between the older people that were kind of holdovers from like the 80s era, and then kind of the new gen where it's like more of like a skill tool, like a fidget toy. So when I go to conventions, when I first went in like 2023, there was definitely like the older crowd where it's like they're definitely there for the knives and for like the craftsmanship, but now there's also like a 50-year age gap, and then there's us. So yeah, a lot of like queer people are actually into it a lot. I feel like it's a lot of like the fidgeting and like the stimming and all that. So yeah, when I got into the scene, I kind of started doing it as I started kind of combining my other hobby of like kind of dressing more femme and like that sort of scene. So when I started, my Instagram handle was BladeMade there. So yeah, when I went to like that Blade show, I was in Atlanta, and I would attend it in my maid outfit, just because why not? And then what else? In like 2024, they started having like, I guess, this after party after the whole convention was done, where this guy would host like a little rave, sort of, so to speak. It was more like a little after party with like some music, and then there's some more people flipping, but also hosted by like furries. So again, the new gen people kind of getting into the scene. But yeah, that's sort of how I've been involved in this. So I can't really like come up with things while flipping. Not doing my best right now.
You're doing great. None of us know how to do it.
But yeah, let me just show off like some of mine because I have like a little bit of a connection between each of my stuff. So yeah, I have like 15 or so. This was the first one that I got. This was a gift from my dad in like 2019. I don't really flip it a lot anymore just because it's not really like my make preference anymore. But I still keep it just because I just don't want to get rid of gifts. This one's the one I spent the most time on in like COVID. The scene really took off in COVID, really, just because everyone was home and it's like the only thing to do. So yeah, I started doing this a lot more around 2020, 2021. So yeah, this one is the one, I guess the one I put the most hours on. This one was the one I bought with like, not my first, but like one of my first paychecks. I had a set of them. I had it anodized. This one's like a purple to blue, and then the other one I had like a yellow to pink. I had like a name for them. It was like Dawn and Dusk. I did sell the other one just because it wasn't built well. So yeah, I just got rid of that one. So this is Dawn and Dusk. This one is Dusk. It's like the night kind of colors.
Han, would it be open to leaving those out after your thing, like
Sure.
so people could take a look during the intermission?
Yeah.
Awesome.
This one's the one I bought at my first Blade show. Really pretty. I think I'd call this one Aurora. Most of my things I name just because I feel like the association. I feel like most knife people, they don't really have this sort of like closeness just because like when you're using a knife, you're using it for maybe like a minute or two a day, but like when you're kind of doing this kind of skill toy, you kind of spend more time with it, you kind of care for it more, and so kind of just develop a more closer connection to it. Most to what has you almost popped out? On my fingers, but
Wait, how do you
but yeah,
not
I think
cutting yourself?
the one that I was using, the for the most part in the beginning was like the one I'm most comfortable with now. And yeah, that's sort of what I've been like my main hobby for a while.
Let's hit, well, first round of applause. Let's take 3 questions for Han. If anybody has a question, Scott.
Yes.
What is the price range typically for like a good quality, like one that you can actually use consistently?
So the one that I would use most consistently, I guess this one, I would like bring it to work just because it's like the most toy-like. It's like $70. But yeah, I think in recent years they've been coming down in price because I know like the gold standard a couple years ago was like 300. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Any other question? Yeah.
So, do you prefer using trainer blades or live blades for the weight when you're doing the and learning new ones?
So learning new ones, I would definitely do like a trainer one. The one I'm most comfortable with is a trainer, but I know there's like a whole little debate of just like, okay, well you kind of develop bad habits if you don't like respect like the edge. But for me, like there's also just a whole like weight distribution thing. So it kind of just depends on like kind of what I'm feeling on that day. Or like if I'm going out, I'm gonna take this one just because it's the most like toy like.
People won't confuse it for a real blade.
Yeah.
Or do you think?
All right.
All right, well, thank you. Han, remember, so if you have more questions, ask him anytime. And
Bring us back up. Okay.
You have any scooters?
All right. Thank you, Han. That was
the same with mine.
great. Don't forget your notebook.
Yeah.
Gonna need that. Awesome. Are we back live with this? All right, cool. All right. So, gonna take a couple minutes while our next presenter gets her stuff together, and we are going to talk about what we have coming up next here at Social Media. So we've got a few events coming up. Laptop, come here. Thank you. All right. So I just want to talk about a couple of them real quick. First is Saturday, September 6th. We're going to have our Maker Melee coming up. So have any of you watched the Maker Melee on our YouTube or participated in it or know about it? Oh, yeah. We do have one of our contestants here. Make sure you check that out on our YouTube as our episodes go up. And we're going to be doing the next one on September 6th. You can use the QR code here to sign up. And then the next one is we are planning our Halloween party. So make sure you put on your calendar October 24th. It is on a Friday. We specifically made it the week before Halloween so that people would actually be able to attend since, Halloween is on a Friday this year. We're going to have an amazing costume contest. We got some awesome prizes that we're cooking up for that. So,
we do have limited space for both events, so even if you're a member and you get your free ticket, please sign up because that helps us make sure we have enough space for everybody.
Yeah, we may be in a very spacious space, but we still have, fire code capacities and stuff like that. So, we're going to have DJ in, a bunch of really cool vendors, some gaming sessions. We're going to be partnering with the game shop down the way. We're going to have a tarot card reader and a magician and possibly some other live entertainment if we can figure out the space for it. So make sure you get your tickets for that or sign up for it if you're a member. It is free for members, $25 if you are not a member. But with that, we're going to go ahead and bring up our next long-form presenter. So this amazing crafter is somebody that I've known for a few years and is part of the communities that I'm involved in. They are a character creator, a cosplayer, and a world builder. And we are very excited to have Lizifer Creations today.
send you a link.
I was like, if you have this might help.
Yeah, so you know what's funny is my main computer is a Windows because that's where I play my games. So,
That should be right. And then you just do choose content.
Oh.
And now you can choose mirror.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I also get anxious when something doesn't go right technology-wise.
Doing great.
Okay, choose window or app. I'm just gonna mirror this window. Wow, that's my settings. That's weird. Let's try. Okay. I now have the thing open, and I'm gonna change the window.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hey.
It looks way cooler than the settings does. I'm gonna get my notes because I get all over the place sometimes.
And we'll give you the mic.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be here and get to talk to y'all about world building and costuming and honestly, just in general, how to design things from scratch. So before we get into this talk, I want to set the expectation that I'm going to primarily be focusing on how to do this for a personal project or for something for yourself. While I have done cosplay in the past, I actually got away from character cosplay and do original costumes, and I'll actually show some of those. But I find a lot of value in doing my own costumes, building my own characters, creating my own worlds, which has led to set designs. Actually, this set you're seeing right here is something that myself and others built at Wasteland Weekend, and it's a post-apocalyptic scouting-themed camp after the Den Mother led us away from the nuclear wastelands. So a whole lot of lore there. I could go on forever, but the reason why I wanted to start this with the lens of mastering this for yourself is, at least in my experience, learning how to master my own characters helped me then apply that thinking to other characters, as well as jobs, as well as, for instance, props I'm making for other people, freelance work. So it just makes it easier to apply at a professional level. So that's how I at least got started. Now, with that said, I am going to sprinkle in some tidbits of knowledge of how maybe what I'm talking about would be different for a professional setting or like film or whatnot. Yeah, just be on the lookout for those call outs. Next note and slide. I said next slide. Okay. So this is kind of what we're going to be going over, just a quick agenda. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about me, why creative ecosystems are important, and we'll get into that. The process isn't always linear. And then creating costumes, props, characters, or environments. I will do a brief costume demo since I brought a couple of my pieces that mean a lot to me. And then we can open it up for questions. So a little bit about me, and I have some of my work on the right-hand side here, is my primary work currently is like my day job, is I do digital designs for large companies. I also am an illustrator. I've illustrated a children's book. Yay. And do freelance illustration, painting, fantasy art, and then I'm also an independent costumer, prop maker. I do figurine sculpts and then special effects. I like to sculpt prosthetics, wearable applications, and then I enjoy DMing D&D games. I really love that. So now these all sound like really, really different things, really different specializations, but they all share the same foundation, which is they're all creative storytelling ecosystems that they exist in. And that's what I use to base a lot of my ideas off of. So, oh God, there we go. So now, why creative ecosystems? And this is one of my costumes I did for a cyberpunk event, and there happened to be a cyberpunk car there, so I was like, well, that's a cool photo. And so, yeah, I make all of my own costumes, and I'm very specific about saying what's not made by me if I, buy something or buy something from someone else too, so we can support our fellow artists. But back to the slides. Ecosystems are your guides to tell the story you are trying to tell. It can influence your decision-making process quite heavily. So by thinking about your project as a creative ecosystem, you can create inspirations or funnels of inspirations to fuel your design decisions. So how do you create an ecosystem? You basically ask yourself why and how a lot. So when I'm doing a costume, if I want to add something, I'm like, well, why is this important to the character I'm making? Or why is this important to the world that this exists in? Why is this relevant? Or how is this relevant? So those are things that I consider. But yeah, you just ask yourself a lot of questions. Now, I am a neurodivergent person, sometimes to a fault. So I wanted to just kind of point something out about this process. And that's one of my favorite things about this process is not linear, especially if you're doing it for yourself. If you're doing this for a film or a production or freelance work, it might be a little bit different. There might be some rules there. But part of the fun about making original costumes for yourself is there's no fandom you have to adhere to. There's no preset rules in place. There's no, you have to do this way, and if you don't, there's going to be an angry online mob that's going to point it out that it's on the left side and not the right. So, and that's one of my favorite things about this because it's suitable for neuro-inclusivity creation. And you can move at a pace and direction that's comfortable for you. I know for myself, when I feel burnt out, part of my creative process is taking rest. So like, it's okay if you don't feel like working on something or doing something. Maybe you just need time to reset, or maybe even to think about something else. So creating costumes, props, characters, or environments, they all exist in a world. And what does that world look like? And the photo here is actually of an environment I just built at Neotropolis, the cyberpunk event that I go to in the spring. So it's an alien bed and breakfast. We have the Inconvenience Store on the right, and then the hotel front desk on the left. And I run a bunch of really cool quests and barter and all this other stuff. So step 1, find your base inspiration and build around it. It may be a surprise spark of creativity or something that you naturally find exciting. If it's something you enjoy, the creativity will flow more naturally. When I first started cosplaying, I tried doing costumes that were popular, and it didn't always turn into costumes I really liked or characters I really resonated with. I actually found that I enjoyed crossplay more, or gender bending characters a lot more. And once I started doing that, I started making cooler costumes because I was actually creating for myself. So also too, in that same vein, when I'm designing for myself, I actually pull from my personal interest or heritage. If it's not for yourself, wow, I totally forgot to write the rest of that. If it's not for yourself, you can find inspirations in the guardrails or world that you have been presented, or your inspiration from your client. Okay, let's see. Yes, I said that. Cool. Sweet. All right, next slide. Define your ecosystem. And like I said, you don't have to do this in the exact order. Sometimes I'm like, oh, you know, it'd be really cool. And that's actually happened with the Asteroid Inn. So I was like, what if there was an alien on an asteroid that ran a bed and breakfast? And it was the most remote place, and it did not make sense for anyone to go to, but it was very lucrative. So part of your ecosystem, we're gonna start with character here, is who are you? What is your personal or world history? Where do you reside? What are your motivations or things that are important to you? These are all good things to think about because they can influence how you design your character. I actually really like, anyone who's played D&D, in the character handbook, there are ways you can roll for your character's history. And sometimes I've had a lot of fun with that in trying to figure out characters not even for D&D. But that's a great way to get inspiration. But if there are characters or established characters I really resonate with, for instance, I will also like to pull bits and pieces of those personalities. One of the costumes I'm going to show you is for Jupiter Nim, the owner and operator of the Asteroid Inn. And she is basically a combination of Mr. Krabs and Dolly Parton with my own personality sprinkled in. Like money, but also too like hot shug. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And I have so much fun in that personality. It also helps me get out of my shell because I'm not just like, Liz, now I'm Jupiter Nim, and I'm very eccentric. Did I say the thing? Step 1. Let's see. Aha. Oh, and then another thing. And I think this was, oh yes, no, that's, let's see, sorry. I mixed up my cards. Something else I just want to just put out there is when you are creating for yourself, you're the one that gets to design the rules. You're the one that sets the guardrails. I know in the past I've considered, I'm like, well, is this allowed? Like, is is it okay if I name this asteroid belt something weird? And it's like, yeah, you're the one inventing it. So if you can connect whatever you're doing or whatever world you're creating through lore, just make it make sense in some way, shape, or form, convincing, whatever it is, and you can make it real. It doesn't have to be from something that's already exists. If you can connect the dots and tell that to others, or even tell it to others through visual storytelling, through your costumes, through your world, awesome. The rules are yours. All right, and environment. How does the environment affect your character? How they act, what they wear, their interests or professions. So if your character, for instance, is from a warm or dry place, think about materials or styles or aesthetics that help with living in a warm and dry place. Like light, flowy fabrics, hoods, heat-repelling colors. In some of my heat builds, I'll use fabrics that are super breathable or that have venting or different things. But also too, world terrain can heavily influence weathering. Yay, I love weathering because nothing is brand new when it's out in the world. So now, for instance, like if your character is dredging through swamps or like wetlands, they're probably going to have some mud splatter at the bottom of their pants or maybe discoloration of water stains trailing upwards. Those are just different things you can think about. When adding to your characters, what does that world look like? And on my Jupiter Nim costume, the ground or the dirt is purple out there and it glows. So I added that to that costume as well. Does your character have a profession, hobbies, world pastimes? This can actually make it so you can add accessories to your costume. Like your character is a potion salesperson and has a bunch of vials on them, for instance. Or maybe they catch bugs and there's a bug jar. Or I have a character that she is kind of a, wow, and I just realized I make a bunch of ranchers and costumes, but she's a gaúcho, which is Brazilian, gaucho basically, but pronounced gaúcho, and she has a bullwhip. So those are your, those finer details about your character can influence your accessories. That's a great way to accessorize. And then this final point for this segment is refinement and evolution can be continuous. So when you're making for yourself, there is no set timeline. I have gone to events and something I have learned is nobody knows what you didn't finish. And it is very good to live by that because your enjoyment, especially if you're wearing a costume to an event, Ren Fair, whatever it may be, should be paramount. But you can add onto your characters and costumes over the years, and that actually can add to character development and evolving. So, and another note is, so I, for myself, focus on making my costumes durable and last long. So some of the costumes you're going to see I have worn for 3 to 4 years and they're still holding up. But I also like to make them comfortable so I don't have a sensory meltdown. I like to spend a little bit more time on it so I can have a quality costume versus in my early days of cosplay, I hot glued that stuff on my arm. And that is the only time that it is going to, I hot glued the glove, or I had the glove and I'm like, okay, hot glue gun, take the wheel. And that's how I touched the armor. And I was like, this only needs to last a day. So now super fast, because I know I'm running out of time, what does this look like? So I'm going to show you my own creations, my asteroid alien rancher, yay, the crate, and then my post-apocalyptic gaúcho. So I'm just going to put this down. So this is my rancher jacket. Ugh. Let me just put this. And I have a hat too, so it gets worse. And I have to undo my hair because I can't wear that with the hat. Okay, so with this costume, I created an ecosystem, and every single decision on this costume is influenced by that ecosystem. Now, this isn't the whole costume, obviously, but for instance, I wanted dangly antennas, which I sculpted and then cast out of silicone. Because this is how my alien race communicates. We actually don't have ears. We grew them for monetization reasons, so we could take money from other species. But also, I totally forgot to bring a USB charger, but there is actually a light that shines it's actually an under-the-counter light that shines underneath this hat. And that's so I can read my ranching documents in the darkness of space. So I'm using a profession to think about that. And then here's some of that dirt I was telling you about, because ranching is not a clean job. And some of the back, this is actually a pattern I made myself. And then sewed together. The fabric I used is ripstop nylon because a technical outerwear is needed when you're ranching, especially if you don't want to get soaked by asteroids, you know, tromping around in the asteroid mud, especially because there's a Mercury Lake nearby. But I used all of these decisions to develop this costume and this character, and I had a lot of fun with it. So yes, this is the Jupiter Nim jacket. There's a lot more that goes on to this, but these are the parts that I am most proud of. And then incredibly fast, I'm going to show you my post-apocalyptic Gaushu. I'm just gonna do a good floor put right there. Oh no. Same laptop, same. Guess what? There's another hat. I like to wear hats because I don't like wearing wigs. It starts to make me have some sensory issues. I do not like things like grabbing my hair, but I really like hats and it's really helpful for the sun. So I'm gonna wear the hat and I'm going to show you. I also like to put ears or dangly bits on all of my hats. So, and I'll have some of this stuff available to check out, but Brazilian, I am Brazilian. My grandparents are immigrants from Sao Paulo, and I also come from a line of sugarcane farmers. Yes, big flex. But for Wasteland, I actually wanted to channel my grandfather's, or a lot of my grandfather and his family's history because of the fact he's no longer, he hasn't been around for a while, but I really liked, he's an artist and I wanted to honor him. So these are actually resin casts of the coins that he brought with him when he came to the US. I didn't want to use the real ones, so I made resin casts. And then these are rooster feathers. So in Portuguese and Brazilian culture, the galo is like a good luck effigy. It's a rooster. You've probably seen it on maybe some pots or like tiles and stuff, art. And then I'm trying to think what else. Oh, and then I sculpted, like these are probably a little bit bigger than they should be, but I sculpted caiman teeth because Amazon. And these are in the hat. Yes, because I also wanted to kind of give like a nod to Crocodile Dundee. And then this is a bolero in kind of the style that Brazilian gauchos would wear. Now, poncho. This is a poncho that I made. And it looks like a giant ripped piece of fabric. I promise it's not, but it is. And I actually cut this thing out into a bunch of patchwork and then re-sewed it back together. So you can see that there's a bunch of like seams here, and then I dip dyed it because I was trying to emulate the the Brazilian maned wolf or South American maned wolf, having the darker paws and then the lighter arms. So yeah, so with this is my poncho I made, and y'all can get a closer look at it afterwards as well. And I know I've run out of time now. Oh, and then just real fast, I also made a mask out of, I sculpted this myself. I love sculpting. I made a mask. This is a kind of a humanized version of a maned wolf skull piece because you need a mask to navigate all of the dust and the dirt that is out there. So yeah, so those are just some examples of how you can use the world you have built to tell stories. And my decisions influenced everything that I ended up choosing for these costumes. And especially the Gaushu, I have like a whole write-up on it, so please talk to me about it and I will tell you a lot. And then, so yeah, there's the full costume of Jupiter Nim, and I have a tiny asteroid named Aster Ronald. He is my son. And he is also my main asteroid. He's the mascot of the Asteroid Inn. But yeah, that's the full coat. And then that is the full outfit of the Brazilian Gaúcho. I have a Brazilian beer can as a cup. And then Cazadores, which I was like, that's another, like there's some crossovers also too for Mexican culture and Latin American culture. And just kind of how it all looks. And yes, there's my bullwhip, which I like to chase cans around at the event. And that just about does it. So ignore my generic company name and month year, because that's not part of this presentation. But I didn't know if we have time to take any questions. Okay, cool. What questions do y'all have for me? Let's see, I saw your hand go up first.
Okay, so do you ever just add something to a costume because of like a rule of cool, it just looks like it would fit, or do you always build off of that to add a story behind it?
It depends. I mean, a lot of times I'm like, ooh, that does look cool. Like I have some trinkets up here that these don't necessarily have cultural relevance, but they do have personal because I had friends make these and whatnot. I go thrifting or antique shopping a lot, and I'll see stuff and I'm like, that's pretty neat. And that'll be part of my costume or something that's comfortable. Like I just got a saddle for my mini bike out there I'm taking the seat off and I'm putting a horse saddle on my gas-powered mini bike. It's pretty fun. It's got bullhorns on it. It's called the Stampede. So, but yeah, I mean, it just depends. Like I've also have a doom pile of things where I'm like, that would be cool on a costume. And I'm like, well, one day. And now that pile is like this high of things that I have bought that I've intended to use and have not. But yes, but good question. Yes.
I'm kind of curious on the timeline between conception to final products of your cosplays, and I'm wondering if you also have like, do you come with like drafts and revisions before you hit that final look?
Yeah, actually, so I sketch out all of my costumes before I make them, just so I can start to concept. But they are almost never exactly the same as when I finish because I like to treat creativity as an evolution. And I'm very much so as how I'm feeling is how I'm going to create, which music also helps. And then I listen to a song like 1,000 times in like 2 days. But with that said, I will sketch different things out, like the masks. I always sketch masks out on like pictures of myself, so then I can kind of see what that's going to look like ahead of time, because there's a lot more planning when you're doing masks on yourself, and also too, you have to accommodate like glasses and stuff. But from starting a project, I've done a few different cyberpunk projects, actually 3 different cyberpunk jackets, and it usually takes me about 4 months for the whole costume. But like this jacket, I made the entire jacket one year and it ate up so much of my time. And then the next year I spent a lot of time weathering and like adding accents and stuff and then making tech for it, which is cool. The costume actually you saw of the Gaushu, that I did from about June, July-ish, and then finished in September, and that was the whole thing. So yeah, so it just depends also too what's going on in life and whatnot. So, but yeah, that was a good question. And then I spend years sometimes refining it. Yes.
So what is like a fabrication method or process that is like kind of old-timey that you've discovered that you really enjoy, and what's like a more modern one that you've also really enjoyed?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. Trying to think here. Because there's usually painting processes that are kind of old-timey. Like, here's one that I didn't know until like the last couple of years, which is with my sculpting, I do a lot of resin casts as well as silicone. And someone was like, do you ever just spray paint the mold? And I'm like, what? What do you mean spray paint the mold? And they're like, yeah, just spray paint the mold and then it will come out the color. And I'm like, what? And I did it and I was like, oh my gosh, like what? So like there's things like that, or some of my sculpting techniques, like I spent a lot of time hand sculpting and it brings me joy. But yeah, I would say like those are probably some old, like more traditional techniques. And then I also have a 3D printer and a laser cutter and stuff like that, which is a little bit more new school techniques. I'm still learning how to do the digital sculpting, but I get intimidated by the donut tutorial. So, but like those are some new tools that I'm trying to use, and like 3D printing and whatnot. Like those are great for accents or like greeblies and bits. So, yeah. Yes.
Was there like a moment when you were like, oh, I don't have to make this character from this movie? Was there like a single moment? Was it over time that you were sort of freeing yourself of that?
So was there a time where if I had a single moment where I realized that I didn't want to keep doing brand work or like traditional characters and whatnot? I think it happened over time because my last big cosplay costume I did was Syndragosa from World of Warcraft, and I did a full Warbler armor build and I was going to compete, and I ended up staying up 48 hours before BlizzCon straight, and I missed the costume contest entry deadline, and I was so burnt out that I didn't even want to look at a costume after that. And it took me kind of years to get out of that because I also worked a corporate job, so there's a lot of loss of creativity sometimes when you're doing projects that you don't get a say in, like as much how like what the direction is, or it can be innovation crushing. But then I got into Wasteland and Neotropolis, and then also too I met my partner who was in the picture too, because he's also a costumer and he's actually working on a TV show project right now. I can't say. I'm not. That's an NDA situation. But it's really cool having that inspiration around me that you don't have to just do a Street Fighter character, for instance, which I did Vega and it turned out really good. And you don't have to be at every anime con in a brand new costume. Like, you don't have to make for anyone else other than yourself. And honestly, when I started, once I found the joy in making for myself, I realized other people are going to be excited about that because I'm excited about that, and it shows in what I'm making. And as soon as I started being authentic, it took a while, but then I noticed, I'm like, okay, this feels good, and it's inspiring other people around me too. So yeah, sometimes it takes a while and burnout happens, but yes.
Chris, last question.
Cool.
What do you do with the characters after you're done? Like, do you want to take them to a D&D campaign, or do you just like walk around the cons with a weird accent? Like, what do you do with them?
So when I'm at cons, I don't do the whole LARP thing because it scares people sometimes. They're like, I didn't know you didn't have a Southern accent. I'm like, it just happens. But I have a huge advantage for Halloween, okay? Like, I have the biggest advantage for Halloween. I never make Halloween costumes except for Asterion from Baldur's Gate 3. I had to do that costume. But I do Ren Fair, and sometimes I'll take bits and pieces of, like, my Wasteland costume, for instance, and mesh that together for, like, I did a really cool spooky witch, or if the Puritans were asking, just a humble groundskeeper. But I'll mix and match for a lot of the other costume events I do, but they do come out, throughout the year. But I do, the nice thing is with doing original costumes for not just cons is you're going to wear them again at some point if you keep going to specific costume events where you get to use these original characters and stuff. Like I've been using, like I said, these for several years now. So this I made in 2022 and have added to it a little bit each year. So
The
yeah,
festival
good.
community itself has a lot of off-season themed events based on the festival themes too.
Yep.
Which, make it nice to reuse stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. It was fun talking to you.
Thank you so much, Liz. That was awesome, as always. Oh my goodness. Where's the, can't find the HDMI hole. Let's get this doing the thing. All right. So, words. There we go. All right. So how awesome was that? We're gonna probably take a short intermission now. Let everybody get up and stretch your legs. We do have our next show and tell coming up in September 20th for next month is when it's gonna be. If anybody here is interested in presenting, come up and talk to me during our intermission, and we'll get you signed up for that. Also, for those of you who don't know where the restroom is, if you go into the workshop, the last door before you hit the back door out on the right-hand side is going to be the restroom. We also have free water over here, and if you want to buy any soda or snacks from the snack bar, let me know. I'll get you rung up. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and take a short intermission. Be back here in, let's say, 10 minutes. All right? All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to go ahead and get started with our second half of our show and tell tonight. So I hope bladders are empty and your cups are full. So our next presenter we're going to have up is one of our members. We're going to go ahead and bring Savannah up to talk to us about one of their special interests today.
It is a very special interest. Hello, everybody. Hi, I'm Savannah, and for everybody who doesn't know, we'll explain that later. But the way it feels so out of context, but the way I relate to the space, because I swear to God that I do very fun. Hello, outside. I do very fun slideshows of just whatever I want to talk about. The first one I did was about Stephanie Tanner from Full House. I did one about celebrity crushes, and now this one is it's a lot more down to earth and hinged. It's Chuck Mangione and Neanderthals. Now, do I just press the arrow?
Or the space button.
Let's try that. I do a blank one so I can just introduce it like this. Hello. So this is about specifically how Chuck Mangione scored me an A in Neanderthals class in college. And if for everybody who doesn't know, who's Chuck? Who is this and why am I wearing this hat? Well, beside it being a really cute hat, he wears a hat. Chuck Mangione, born 1940, passed away just last month. And who he is America's sweetheart and a flugelhorn icon. I am not good at genres, so I listened to it, but I have no idea what music genres are. But like jazz contemporary, very wonderful music. Has anybody listened to Chuck Mangione before? I'm really happy to enlighten you today. So one of his most famous song is called "Feel So Good," and it is the best 10-minute song you'll listen to in your whole life. And I'm not exaggerating. I listened to this song. One time I got really drunk and needed to like ground myself. I just put this on and I vibed and it felt so much better. But please take 10 minutes out of your day one of these days. Please listen to it. It's very smooth and nice and very sweet and fun in my opinion. And it got number 4 on the Billboard Top 100 in 1978. And it was nominated for a Grammy. It was beat out by a Billy Joel song. Can't remember, but this should have won. And in Wikipediaing this song specifically, Chuck Mangione described editing the original version as major surgery, which I think is so funny because one of the most major references to Feel So Good is Doctor Strange when he is in surgery, performing surgery on somebody, and he's playing Feel So Good in the background, and that's really fun. But another thing you might know him from, he is in King of the Hill a lot. He voices himself and sometimes plays like the flugelhorn riff of Feel So Good as like a joke. And there's a very famous episode where he is manhunted in the equivalent of a Walmart. And he's in the walls like this, wearing the outfit. So yes, that's Chuck Mangione, and we love him. He is a king. And so, by the way, to remind you, there's Neanderthals in this presentation as well. Why? So part of what I studied in college is evolution, and I'm a little bit past that time. I won't say how long, so if you ask me questions about it, you're going to get vague answers. And then in spring 2018, I took the class on Neanderthals, and I did a research project, which I think was like my final or something. And it's a 5-minute video, which is what I'm showing you today. I'm not showing you Feel So Good. You should listen to that yourself. But I spent 12 hours editing what you're about to see is a very bad video. And I went so hard on the editing, I missed the class session to present it. So I didn't, I really shouldn't have spent that much time on it, especially with how it turned out. But so now, how are they related? What does that have to do with anything? Well, I needed music for this video, and I didn't want to do some boring, basic, royalty-free music. I'm not about that. What's a good song that lasts a long time that I have a lot to work with that's instrumental? It's Feel So Good by Chuck Mangione. And in context, it's magical. Sarcasm, it's really dumb. But this is my research project. hopefully it plays. We'll see. And I hope you enjoy it. But just some boundaries. My roommate is voicing it. It's not me. She talks really fast because I begged her to talk really fast because I have to make this 5 minutes, and the quality's very bad. And this was 2018, not 2006, so there's no excuses. But okay, I'm gonna play it now. Oh, the volume is okay. The volume's very low, but is that okay? Is that chill? We're gonna turn it up. And when you watch this, Chuck Mangioni's in the cuts in between the slide. You'll get it. Okay, let's try it.
Today we will be discussing a very interesting site, Shannon Cave in Iraq. Let's start off by describing the cave itself. Shannon Cave is located in Baradas Mountain. It is the size of about 4 tennis courts inside. Excavations by Ralph Selecki reveal that inhabitation of the land goes back to at least 1,000 years. Fudge. 100,000 years. The first excavations revealed 4 layers, A through D, top to bottom, with each layer containing artifacts at different points in time. With layer A for the Neolithic period, layer B for the Middle Stone Age, layer C for the late Paleolithic, and layer D, which is what we'll be focusing on today. Now, layer D has some pretty interesting things going on. It was dated to around 45,000 years ago and contains some Neanderthals, tools, and even some Neanderthal skeletons. But before we dive into the remains of the Neanderthals occupying the cave, let's set up the scene. During the time of layer D was cold, because it was an ice age. And there's a lot of evidence of continuous fire activity, such as hearths and pits. Now, this life may sound simple and cozy, but there were some serious hazards living in this part of town. Occasionally, the cave experienced rock falls in the ceiling, which was the most likely cause of death for the 2 Shannon Neanderthals, as both of their bodies were found crushed under boulders. So not all remains were found together as a group, but rather each one at a different level, separated by thousands of years. There have been at least 5 individuals found, but today we'll be discussing the first 3 found. The first of these is Shannon 1, which is the most recent Neanderthal and the best preserved. These remains are dated to be around 45,000 years ago, with a fairly complete skeleton, which is crushed by
rock, not by
much
bone.
of the skull is intact and indicates some unusual cranial deformation, which will be discussed later on today. From the pubic bone morphology, Shannon 1 was an adult male. Next, we have another adult male individual dated to around 60 to 65,000 years ago, and unfortunately suffered more damage. He was also crushed by a boulder, but this time having his skull crushed as well. This Neanderthal, however, is estimated to have lived up to 40 to 50 years.
Lived before his skull was crushed. Lived that long.
Baby, at most 1 year old. Most of the body was also crushed under the earth. And on that note, tools associated with the Neanderthal layer primarily consist of flint tools qualifying as part of the Mousterian. These are simple flakes that have been worked down to the smallest possible size. Points were often reshaped and used until they became too blunt. Even Shannon 3's left ninth rib had a cut mark indicating a wound that healed before death. These tools have been used for close kills and hunting, as well as for cutting meat or hides. Neanderthals in Shannon Cave consumed a wide variety of plant foods, including date palms, legumes, and grass seeds. The starch and grass seeds are found to be damaged, indicating that it was cooked. This shows that potentially the Neanderthals had somewhat sophisticated dietary habits, and that such crazy varied conditions, they were able to work with whatever plants they had, making them more edible through cooking. Some of the animals they used for consumption and production included tortoises, wild pigs, roe deer, and sheep. However, none of these compared to the most important part of the Neanderthal diet: goats. Wild goats, to be exact. Ralph Selecki, wife of the aforementioned Ralph Selecki, determined that to successfully hunt down these goats, Neanderthals had to closely study their behavioral patterns. Neanderthals could have surrounded the goats at watering holes or chased them into natural traps. like the box canyon near the Shenandoah Cave. If you think that's weird, let's talk about some other interesting behaviors. Like I mentioned before, some of the Shenandoah Neanderthal skulls, namely Shenandoah 1 and 5, contain some odd cranial morphology or defects. It has been suggested that their heads were intentionally flattened, probably for aesthetic purposes, much like ancient civilizations such as the Mayans. However, this has been found to be inaccurate. Another odd behavior, flowers. Throughout the 1970s, researchers thought that Shenandoah Neanderthals had introduced flowers into the cave as a way of decorating burials. Some pollen clusters contained many, many pollen grains, indicating that they had been brought in from outside. This practice would be identical to what modern societies do today, placing a bunch of flowers at someone's grave. While this is a nice image in the context of Neanderthals, more modern research has shown that most likely the cause of the introduced pollen was from mice. Well, there you have it. The house is Shenandoah Cave are wrapped. Today we have learned that they are cold, damp, sat by the fire making some tools, and loved goats. I hope you guys had an enjoyable and enlightening journey here today. Thanks for listening and have a chill day.
Now, I typed that in for a grade to a professor I really respected. And I did say I got an A, and here's the proof in the pudding. I logged back in yesterday to my old login. I confirmed I got a 96. Reading what the feedback was. Ha, that was hilarious. You cut that together amazingly well. And even though your roommate spoke like lightning speed, it worked for the way that you cut it together. Great info, though a few things were slightly inaccurate and a little confusing in the way they were presented. Loved it. I don't know what that information I presented wrong was, so don't ask me. But it would not have been as funny or as great without our man. So rest in peace, Chuck Mangione. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Savannah. That was.
There's no questions. I highly doubt your questions.
That was great. I did not know anything about either of those subjects, actually. So we're going to bring Martin up to talk about his cool little device that he made.
You'll never believe it. It's a bathroom chore tracker. I'm going to move this computer. Sorry. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We're going to plug this guy in somewhere. Let's see if this will work. It's only if I can get it into the plug. Okay, so maybe it'll turn on. Maybe it won't. We'll use a different plug. But I'm going to talk while they're doing that because I want to. Anyway, so who has ever gone to a bathroom? Wow, so many. Love that. Keep your hand raised if you ever shared a bathroom with someone. Have you ever shared a bathroom with someone? Yeah, it really sucks, right? It's kind of just the worst. And so this last year, I was at Cal Arts. Shout out Cal Arts. Great school, but also art school. And, you know, us artists, we like to be free spirits. And sometimes that means we don't like to clean the bathroom, which makes me really sad. And so last year, I was like the only person who cleaned this bathroom that we shared with 4 people for an entire school year. That was really sad for me. I never want to do that again. And so we have to come up with solutions. We actually were at an event in San Francisco for the new laser that we just got. So come back here and cut some things on the laser. Or if you're watching online, come here and cut some things on the laser. But we were at this event and we were in San Francisco. And Ben was like, well, we're in San Francisco, so you have to make an app because that's how San Francisco works. Now, if you know me, you know that I actually can't use a computer. I'm very technologically challenged, hence why I don't, yeah, okay, the buttons are on. But using some help from Gemini, I was able to co-code. So I would say like, okay, let's start by making, you know, I want a button to light up. And then it would kind of code that piece and then I'd have to check it. And then we'd go back and forth until we could refine this. So this is kind of what we got. And as you can see, the button was yellow. Now, when the button turns yellow, it actually sends the person a message on Discord. Yeah, Ben's on my Discord server that this is linked to. So it sends that person a message that says, "Hey, just so you know, in about 3 days, it's gonna be your turn to clean the bathroom." Now, once that button turns red, it sends them another message and says, "Hey, just so you know, you have 3 days to clean the bathroom." Now, if they don't clean it within those 3 days, their button will start flashing red. It sends a text message, it sends a Discord message to everyone in the server and is like, "Hey guys, no one cleaned the bathroom. You're all disgusting pigs." But if you do clean the bathroom, you get to press the button. We're all gonna be really quiet because it's not very loud. But if you press the button, and that's what it does. Oh yeah, let's show the Discord. There's a lot. Oh, I also forgot to mention that it does send you when you clean the bathroom, and in addition to the lights and the sounds, it also sends you a GIF on Discord of a toilet themed GIF. The only parameters to that GIF is that it is tagged as toilet. Which means that sometimes they're like a toilet with googly eyes and the water flushes. And sometimes it's Nick Kroll dancing around and the text is, "I can't come to work today. I have diarrhea." It just depends on the day. And please take a look at this Discord. Our server's called Potty Talk. And I can answer questions while Ben is pulling this up. Yeah, Daniel, what's up?
So what stops someone from pressing it without cleaning the bathroom?
Nothing really, other than respect for your fellow roommates, and hopefully we have that. Yeah, it's more of a reminder than a policing tool. Yeah, I've gotten a couple different suggestions. I think Brian was like, "Oh, you need to add a camera to it and then legs so it can chase people." And sometimes the GIF doesn't make sense, but that's okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can see it. We'll just let Ben. You can scroll up so we don't have to wait, or we can wait. That's also cool. Does anyone else have questions while we wait? It's gonna be like a minute. Yeah. Yeah, so wait, I'm gonna let it go because they want to see the danger meme. The GIFs are actually being taken straight from Giphy, and the only parameters that it has is the tag toilet. Yeah. It's on theme. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, so no one, actually the people on the Discord right now are 2 random people and Ben, but eventually it will be the Sweetmates. The bathroom is starting to develop its own ecosystem. Someone please intervene before it achieves sentience. Yeah, it's the same every time. I asked Gemini to have that message be what it sends when it's urgent. Yeah, and then we discuss, because basically the thing is, right, also artists, you have to be like, I'm still cool, right? You can't come in there and be like, "I made a chore tracker, guys. Love me." And so you have to be cool. So I was like, "Actually, please make me sound not crazy." And that's what it came up with. Yay. Yeah. Thank you. Oh yeah. Yeah, what's up?
So you've gone through this 3 times already.
Mhm.
5 minutes.
Mhm. Yes. So the typical cycle that will be once we move into our dorms is that it'll turn yellow and it will tell them they have 3 days. You can't actually press the button while it's yellow. It won't do anything. That way there's at least 3 days before everyone cleaning the bathroom. And right now it's just set to 30 seconds in between because I want to be able to test it without waiting a bunch of time. Yeah. And I am done. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. That's cool.
And then our last presenter is Nathaniel.
Nathaniel.
Is just grabbing one last magic tool thing, I guess. I don't know what he's doing. But again, while we're waiting for Nathaniel to come back,
What
really
clubs
quick,
do we have?
Yeah.
We have. Oh, you're gonna test me here. Monday nights we have cosplay club.
Give it up for cosplay club.
So yeah, come and work on some costumes. Tuesdays is art, process art. Yep. So we do process art on Tuesdays. Wednesdays is maker meet. So we do different little events and maker things. I think we're doing
I think last
foam
week we did
smith.
puppet making.
Last week we did puppet making. This week
We're doing
some
foam smithing. Yep. So like making things, props and armor and stuff out of. It's on Wednesday. Yep. Thursdays is electronics club. We're closed on Fridays. And then we're here every first Saturday of the month with Maker Melee, and the third Saturday of the month with Show and Tell. And other than that, we have Saturdays are hit and miss, or come in and hang out with me. Looks like we got a couple more minutes in there.
A speaker?
Speaker. Yeah. We're just gonna take a couple minutes and let them set up and just talk amongst yourself for a couple minutes, and we'll be back.
Yeah, if anybody wants to push a button, we'll take a minute now. So it's super satisfying.
Oh no,
You have to wait for it to turn red.
the bathroom's dirty. It's getting dirtier.
Oh no.
Oh no. I have to wait till it's red. Okay.
I was like, I don't want someone to like clean the bathroom and then literally
for that?
Yeah, I'm just finishing getting set up. But I just wanted to let you guys all know that after we're all completely done, if you want to stick around, you have to talk to any of our presenters still left here. Liz is going to be over here with her creations to show up. And ask
Before I
questions.
forget, when we're done, can I please have all the presenters, should have done this back when Daryl was there, all the presenters come take a picture together before. I always forget every year.
Liz is also going to be selling some of her creations over here. She has some pins and stickers and stuff available. So, definitely come up and check those out. So in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get started with our next presenter. This is Nathaniel Segal.
Segal, yeah.
A presenter and magician who has just recently done a run at the Magic Castle.
Wow.
So, give it up for Nathaniel.
Thank you very much. Hey, everyone. Do I have to do a thing or?
I just did this.
Hi everyone, my name is Nathaniel Segal. I'm excited to see a lot of familiar creations and some new faces. My show and tell is a magic show. So I guess I feel like I'm cheating a little bit. I'll at least preface it with I am now my next project since I did the Magic Castle. I have to now build an hour-long stage show, which surprisingly I don't really have. So I'm kind of reworking a bunch of stuff. So everything you're about to see, aside from maybe one thing, is all new-ish. So there's little bits and pieces. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
They're breathing.
Thank you. As this is a fun group, this is Ben and I will talk about this eventually. I need to make a new version of that. That is the routine I've been performing for the last 10 years, and I don't know how to make another version of it. Now, I think I can do this. I have been a magician for a while, and if you like the show, please let the bucket know. I'm a 1 or a 5 is great. 10 or 20 is a little bit better. This is actually how I got my start in magic, performing for tips and on the street, doing street magic. Now, I have been interested in magic my entire life. Since I was 3 years old, I was fascinated by it. In 3rd grade, I did my first magic show for an audience. And at age 13, I became a professional magician. That means somebody paid me to do magic, which blew my mind as an idea that I could actually get paid to do this. When I graduated college in 2016, I became a full-time professional magician, which means I paid all of my bills by doing magic shows. I realize that's a very difficult challenge here in LA. But my start really was on the streets of San Francisco at Pier 39, where if you don't have a good show, people don't stick around. They don't put money in your bucket. You know, I have oftentimes had a hard time learning magic and practicing magic, and it was always sent that you had to read all these magic books, and I couldn't quite have the focus to do that. And so I just came up with my own tricks and designed them myself sort of in my head, and realized that sort of helped me create my own sort of style of magic and create something a little different and original. And you know, as time went on, I started to realize that was sort of becoming my own unique brand of magic, and it's sort of what set me apart from other people, since everyone else was sort of doing all of the same tricks, and created my performance style. Now, it's not much to live off of. It's you know, it is a challenge to be a full-time magician, but it is a living.
Wow.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You know, I am fascinated by studying how the brain works. I happen to have a math degree from UC Berkeley and a theater minor, which just means I'm very nerdy. There's this idea of a left brain and a right brain. Are we familiar with this?
Absolutely.
Yes. Put simply, the left brain is generally considered more logical, analytical, that sees things in a bit more black and white, while the right brain is a bit more creative and emotional, sees things in a bit more color. I want to try something with all of you. Actually, let's see. Is there, if you see yourself as right brain, so the way I remember it is left is logical, L and L. So actually, if you're creative and emotional, please actually stand up. Well, all our right brain people, yes, absolutely. All of our artists, our architects, our poets, our writers. Let's see. Very good. What is your name?
Chai.
Chai, can you catch my right brain?
I'll try.
Perfect. Nicely done. Well done. Can you look around to all of our amazing right brain people here and pass this to maybe somebody you don't know?
Oh. Go long?
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah. All right. Can you do it?
I don't know.
Nice catch. Right. Very good. What is your name?
Beckett.
Beckett. Would you be okay with sharing some of your creative side with us?
I used to be a circus performer.
Did you really? Oh my God, we'll have to talk. Beckett, let's give Beckett a big round of applause. Come on. Everyone's gonna have a seat. Well done. Beckett, come on up. Very good. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Now, I want you to use your imagination. Imagine that you're at the zoo. You can see all the wild animals, weird animals, wacky animals. It can be anything that comes to mind. Do you have an animal in mind? And actually, you know what? Let's make this a little bit more interesting. I want you to change it up. Come up with a totally. My brain hurts. I want you to come up with a totally different animal. Do you have one?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Now, are you visualizing this animal or its location?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you say the name of your animal out loud?
Ostrich.
An ostrich.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You know what? So this is the sort of creative side, or in the creative side. I actually think to get to the ostrich in the zoo, you have to go left and then go right, and then go down one level, and then go straight 25 feet. This will make sense. Here, can you reach inside, grab out the envelope? Let's see, and you go turn left. That's not that amazing. And the next one, let's see, you have to turn right, and then go down one level, and go straight 25 feet. You might find one card here. Becky, what was the animal that you picked?
Ostrich.
Yeah, that's bizarre. Now, if you see yourself as more a left brain,
That's logical, analytical. Please stand up. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we have one more person. Yeah, perfect. Oh, yeah, both sides. Okay, that's right. What is your name?
Alina.
Alina, can you catch my left brain? Yeah. Nicely done, Alina. Very good. We only have a couple people here, but could you pass the brain to somebody else?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Oh, very good. Nicely done. And your name?
Daniel.
Daniel. Would you like to come up and help with this logical brain? You Daniel. Right. Very good. Daniel, welcome. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. You can actually stand right on this side over here. Now, I have a lot of things going on, and my to-do lists are a little hard to manage. I realize I sort of at this point have gotten just like a laundry list of things. I keep track just with like the number of tasks I have to do. And I'm just realizing I forgot a couple here. Okay, there we go. But I keep track of things using a little tally counter. Daniel, can you see like that the numbers go up? Can you guys see that? Yeah. These are it's kind of interesting here. I want to actually see if we can generate a number here. I want to make this will make sense in a second. You can see if you turn it like that, the numbers we can reset it. All right. You can see it like that. All right. Now I'm going to actually click through. We're going to pick a random number. So Daniel, can you? We're just going to focus on the first 2 digits. All right. Can you see the numbers going up? Perfect. We're gonna click for a little while, and whenever you want, just say stop. Okay, stop. No, right there. Okay. Okay, perfect. Can you read the number there?
Let's do one more.
Oh, one more for real? Yeah.
One more.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. What number is that? 68. Perfect. Can you just hold on to the clicker? All right. We're gonna use the number 68. And I'm gonna give you a little insight into what goes on in my head. The number 68. I try to compartmentalize everything, and so the number 68, I can break that down. I'm gonna use 29. Wow, that is not a good sense. That's okay. 1 and 12. There we go. We look at the 4 corners here. This is the math part of the show, so bear with me. We don't have too many drinks here right now. Okay. 49 plus 1 is 50. Yeah. Plus 12 is 62. Okay. Plus 6 is 68. Okay, so we're on the right track. So now, this is the part where it gets a little confused. Nice. All right. Let's see how well this works. How are your math skills? It's okay. Don't test it too much, but we'll do this together. Let's look at the first row. Yes. 49 plus 4 is 50. And you can just check my work. I'm not going to put you on the spot here. 49 plus 4 is 53. Yes? Yes. Okay, perfect. Plus 9 should be 62. Yes. Plus 6 is 68. All right, if we go down this row, 10 and 50 is 60. Plus 5 and 3, 8, 68. All these rows add up to 68. But here's the weird part that's a little confusing is 49 plus 10 is 59, yeah? Plus 8 should be 67, plus 1 is 68. All of the columns add up to 68. But this is where it gets even weirder. You see, the 4 inside squares, 55, 60, 6 plus 2, 68. These 4, these 4, these 4, and these 4. Wow. That's 68 different possible combinations of the number 68. Thank you very much. If you're helping with saying I'm doing a math quiz, you get to keep that clicker, all right? That's where you can click and use it. It's like a fidget toy. There you go. You got it. Thank you very much, Daniel. Appreciate it. Now, maybe you've seen things with numbers like this is a computationally challenging thing, but I believe in coincidences. And even though we had a random number picked, you see, I think it all.
What is that?
49, 405. That is a perfect match. That's great. That's great. And by the way, this is actually what I did on Fool Us. If you know the TV show Penn and Teller Fool Us.
What season episode?
Season 7B. Weird enough, I was actually one of the first people to shoot during COVID. So it was October 2020. They'd actually shot a couple international acts over Zoom, and I was the first one to actually be on stage, 6 feet away from Allison Hannigan, looking at each other, being like, "This is weird." It's really exciting to hear the response that I just had, because I realized, actually, it dawned on me today in the shower that I have not really gotten to perform this routine for a live audience. I did it a couple of times in like New Orleans during COVID, and it was sort of like underground speakeasy stuff. But I realized when I stood on stage shooting Fool Us, it was for Penn and Teller, Allison, and a crew that I couldn't see in the rafters, and an empty audience. It was so bizarre, and I realized how lucky it is to be able to perform for an audience and get reactions. So I'm so excited to be bringing this back into the show. So thank you guys. Well, I didn't want to take up too much time of our show and tell here today. So you've been all amazing. Should we do one more?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Amazing. Thank you so much. It was sort of a rhetorical question, but I'm glad we're still all here together. Yeah, I think this will be good. This is quite special. It's kind of magical, isn't it? I realize bubbles. They're so simple and yet so complex. Sort of like life. I often wonder, when was the last time you played with bubbles? Just play. I realize I'm very fortunate to have a job where I get to play every day. I was told my whole life that I needed to get a real job. But I've worked very hard to be able to follow my passions, do what I love, for audiences all over the world, such as yourself. It oftentimes feels like the world is designed to fit us into boxes. But I realize my brain doesn't work that way. I'm a dreamer. And I can imagine a world with more magic. All those things that make you different, make you special. And if you find them in yourself, hold on to them. Share them with the world.
What the fuck?
Take that magic with share. Whatever way you can.
Oh my God!
Thank you very much, everyone. My name is Nathaniel.
And Nathaniel will also be doing magic. He's the magician that will be at our Halloween party.
Oh, sure, yes.
Doing like small groups in the game room. So
That's good. Yeah.
want to see more of Nathaniel? Get your tickets for Halloween party.
There you go. I don't want to sort of take up any time. I wanted to sort of make it also a a chance to give feedback and ideas. So it doesn't have to necessarily be in this public forum, but I am constantly iterating and constantly designing and tweaking. Actually, to some detriment, I realize I don't get to rehearse as much. I realize how much I enjoy being in front of an audience and seeing if things fail or not. And I'm constantly tweaking things. Just to give you some insight, the bubble that I used just a few minutes ago was actually 3D printed this morning. And I was previously using an acrylic ball, and now I constantly feel like, oh, I want to change this little thing and tweak this thing. So I very much welcome any feedback and ideas, and thank you again. All right, awesome.
All right, that's a wrap. Thank you to all our presenters. We can get all the presenters up here so we can get a and then we'll all hang out. About another half an hour or so, hang out and talk to everybody and enjoy the space.
And thank you, Sam, for